everyone. I wanted to do a video on the cost of competing. It's unfortunately not the most affordable sport, especially if you go into it a little bit blindly and not pre-planning. So I just wanted to give you a heads up of what costs you can expect so that you can be ready and budget for them. So let's take a look at what a fitness competitor will have to pay for. We'll start with what you can see immediately on stage. I'm gonna pull up the Missy Trescott's pictures so we can point it out more easily. And just to be clear, I don't know anything about her costs or anything. I'm just using her as a visual explanation. So, things that I always want to point out. So she has her hair done. So hair is something you'll have to pay for. Her makeup is done beautifully. So makeup, she's wearing very nice looking jewelry. She's got some earrings, looks like a ring, and also some bracelets. Of course, she's wearing a bikini suit, very wonderfully made, something very custom it looks. Oh, in fact, I just realized that matches her shark theme. That is pretty cool. She's got a tan on. She's got posing heels. So those are a few things that you might have to pay for if you aren't sponsored for any of those things. And then let's take a quick peek at then her routine part. If I probably jump to the middle, I can probably find. Here's a really awesome picture. All right, so she has a fitness costume on. She's doing her fitness routine, so there's choreography involved and music. Those are additional things you will have to somehow afford. Here I have a list of all those things I just talked about, and also the average cost you might have to pay for them, right? So if you are getting your tan done through the sponsor, usually the tanning sponsor of the competition, it's usually around $150 for 2 coats. And if you're something very pale and might need a third coat, that will be an extra cost. Getting your hair done professionally, around $100. To have your makeup done professionally, $150. Bikini suit, this is the low end. I'm sure something like what Missy has is going to be in the $1,000, $2,000 if you were to get something that custom and that stoned. But you can get something around $700 for that's going to look really good. Posing heels, $50, probably the cheapest thing in this whole thing, and also the thing you can get the most use out of. Your fitness costume, if it's custom made, that's probably going to be in the low end of it, $700. Choreography, this varies a lot. It'll depend on who you go to choreography for and what's included in that choreography package. Some choreographers will just give you the choreography and nothing else. Some people will be able to help you a little bit, do some tweaks. So shop around there to figure out what you want or need. Music, you can probably find a decent what do you call it? Music composer, DJ, whatever, for about $150 to mix your 2-minute song. Jewelry with the earrings and the bracelets and everything is probably going to be on the low end of $75. And if you want to get like a fancy manicure pedicure with a tip, I usually find that's around $95, but I'm also a little bougie with what I do, so that could go a lot lower. All right, so that is all the stuff that you see on stage. Now let's talk about some of the costs that we don't see on stage, but you will definitely have to pay for. Something I do want to point out, taking off from work, I have this first because some people just completely forget about it. You'll probably want to take off at least the day before the show, and I know some people are paid hourly. So I just wanted to make sure that's there. So if you're paid hourly, that means you're not working that day, which is in some sense a cost. The average hourly pay rate in the US right now is about $11. So if we say you're doing an 8-hour shift, that's about $88 that you will not be taking home. Then there's the NPC card, which is essentially your yearly membership to the NPC. This year it did go up quite a bit from the previous years. It's $150 this year, but they are giving you a lot of perks with that now. So if you sign up soon, then you can take advantage of those perks. So definitely recommend doing that and see what cool discounts and stuff they'll have. Then there's the entry fee to actually compete in a show. Most local shows are going to be around $110. If you do a pro qualifier show, that's going to be closer to $300. And that's always going to be per entry. So if you decide to do multiple divisions and classes, so if you decide to do like figure in addition to fitness, that would be double this. And then, so for coaching, this is super, super variable. So I just kind of plug some like general numbers in here just so that we have something to go off of. You're going to want coaching around posing. You're going to need some coaching probably around contest prep. So contest prep meaning nutrition planning and weight training guidelines. And then you probably will want some fitness training help in some manner. And this is probably the most variable thing in this whole thing because your fitness training is going to be different based on your skill set and what you need help on. So let me just go through these numbers first. With posing, I just put down the dollar amount I remember paying for when I had paid for some private posing lessons, about $75. This was the per session cost. I think I probably did like 3 or 4 times. So let's do this. So if we say 75 times, I don't know, 4 posing sessions, $300. And then contest prep. This will vary a lot also. It can be between $800 for a pretty good, actually very good online 16-week prep to the higher end of like $2,000 plus dollars. And then fitness training, as I was saying earlier, it will vary a lot. What I put in here is actually the monthly cost I paid for during prep to attend an adult tumbling class. So it was like $100 a month for 4 months. Like I said, this will vary, right? You could pay for private tumbling lessons, private dance lessons, performance practice. You could just learn some, if you are a gymnast and you have all the skills but just want to get better at being on stage, maybe you just go to a dance class and just learn some dance moves. It can vary a lot. The total of these 2 columns then, all right, so that is $4,968. That is a pretty big number, and I know it seems very not affordable for many people. So let's talk about how we can make this better. With tanning, if you are comfortable trying to do it on your own, you can buy at-home DIY tanning packages. I recommend buying from tanning companies that are specific to competition tans. So that would be LSR, Liquid Sun Rays, or ProTan. And in fact, here, let me show you this. ProTan has some interesting options. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by them. I just want to point these out to you so you know where to go. They have this mini kit that is travel safe apparently, and that's about $50. Then you can get, or you can get the full size kit for around $110. And I believe Liquid Sun Rays is, let's see, DIY value pack. Let's just go with that. The tanning DIY kit is $100. So that can bring it down a pretty good amount. Let's say you're just doing this once, and we'll go with the super cheap $49.95. If you can do your own hair, then that's great. You don't need anything super fancy. You don't need the fanciest updo. It just needs to look really well put together. So this is something you can definitely do yourself, and I do it myself often. You can even just straighten it, put it in a nice neat ponytail, whatever. So save money there. Makeup. This is also something that you can do yourself if you are comfortable with putting on your own makeup. Definitely go check out some tutorials on YouTube on how to do stage makeup and get that glam look. You do want to make sure that your face lights up and shows up well on stage. If you think of any sort of performer, they will over exaggerate their features and things on stage so that the audience can see it better. I would also recommend buying some foundation though, at the very least, that's in a few different colors or different tones, because you do want your face to match your dark tan. If we say we go with, I don't know, foundation, what's that, around like $25 maybe? Depends. Obviously this number can vary depending on the product, so let's just say $25. So, bikini suit, you can also save quite a bit here. You could make your own suit. There are sewing patterns online. You just got to have a bit of patience with the bedazzling part. So, that can be pretty cheap. Another option is to go check online for different places that have like off the rack suits. I've seen really, really cheap but decent looking suits on Etsy. You can rent a suit. That will also make it a lot cheaper, especially if you're not sure about this competing thing and just want to try it out. Maybe renting is good first for the one time you decide to compete. Other options. So this is where I am going to plug my sponsor. And that's my sponsor, not this channel sponsor. Just want to make sure I differentiate there. I am sponsored by CJ's Elite. CJ makes really, really, really awesome high quality bikini suits, men's competition suits, and fitness costumes. So if you go through CJ, you can include my name in the referral and you will get a discount there. All right, let's say we go the cheapest way possible and you have the skills and you decide to sew your own suit. I think for materials and everything, you can probably expect to spend closer to like $125. Again, depends on what you buy, what you make, how you decide to make it and everything. Posing heels, I would keep this price. It's not really worth it to it's not really worth it in my opinion to try to go real cheap here. I mean, I guess you can borrow someone's shoes. I just don't like borrowing other people's shoes. So the fitness costume, you can save a lot here, just in the same way you can save a lot on your bikini suit. If you have the skills, you can sew your own costume, or you can buy various pieces as a base and then add accessories. So I often will go to Etsy or Amazon, search like pole dancing clothing or rave wear, and see whatever matches my vision I have for my costume, and then I'll add extra accessories there. So I think that was probably going to take you down closer to also about $125. We'll say $150 just to have a different number. Choreography, you can do choreography on your own if you are comfortable with it. And even if you aren't, you could still try it and probably get some feedback from fellow competitors. Fitness competitors are usually very, very friendly. They love helping each other out, and we are happy to give each other tips and suggestions. So you can definitely just use the community as a resource. And, you can definitely reach out to me. I am happy to help and give some pointers and whatever you need. Otherwise, I love helping people. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this channel. So let's say we do that on our own. So now it is free. Music, same thing. You can cut this yourself if you have the ear or the patience to figure it out. Jewelry, I say just go with it. Again, this is on one of the cheaper things that you have to pay for, and you can always reuse it. Definitely something you can apply to other situations. And your mani pedi, of course, if you want to do yourself and you have all the colors, and that'd be $0. So that's already quite a bit that we are saving there. Now let's see, how can we save here? This we can't do much about, so that's just going to be there. And a PC card, you cannot compete without it, so that's required. Obviously, you can't compete without it, without paying for your entry fee. So with coaching in general, like I said, this is going to vary a lot. Let's say you are pretty athletic and can figure a lot of the mandatories on your own. This could be $0. With contest prep, this is going to be an interesting one. So I have paid for both ends of the spectrum on the much lower amount, closer to like $800 for a 16-week prep. And then I paid for the $2,000 or $2,000 plus for it. It was a 12-week prep actually. And I got much better results, much better coaching from the $800 coach. So do your research, really get references and look into the coaches. Some people charge a lot just because they have a big name and they can. Some people charge a lot just to appear like they are a really good coach and that they have high quality coaching, but that's not always true. So yeah, I just want to really drive that home, that you should really, really look into the coaching and try to look beyond the amount of advertising and marketing that they do. Really get references from people who had good experiences and bad experiences, and try to figure out what you need. Sometimes the contest prep might be in part of the coaching also. That was the case for me with my $800 prep. My fitness training actually was also a part of that $800 prep. So I'm just gonna put $800 here because I know it's possible. I know there are coaches who will provide that high quality coaching and everything you need for $800. What does that total up to then? So that becomes this and this. All right, and so now we have a huge difference in numbers, right? You can actually save quite a bit. This is a much more digestible amount of money. And keep in mind that there's a lot of padding in both of these. It could be plus or minus a few hundred in either direction. Just really, I just wanted to do this to sort of illustrate how you can save in this hobby. So there are a few more costs I want to go over. I can't really put a number on because of how variable they are, and it will depend on you. But these are just items that you should be tracking. So let's say you decide to do a competition that is far away and you got to travel for it. Then you got to budget for a plane ticket, probably, unless you decide to drive. Then you got to budget for gas, hotel fees. I do recommend staying a minimum of 2 nights. So that is the day before the show, and then like the night before the show and the night after the show. But to be extra safe, if you can swing it, I would say 3 nights is even better. So that would be the day before check-in, because you don't want to miss check-in. Otherwise, you just wasted 16 weeks or whatever amount of weeks you did for prepping and all the money you put into it. Some promoters are pretty good though. If you can contact them and let them know, hey, I'm like stuck or something, they might be a little flexible with. Also, if you are traveling, you want to budget for other transportation costs. For example, getting from the airport to your hotel, to the check-in, to the actual, to the check-in location / competition location. So just costs you want to be ready for. Of course, you'll probably want a gym membership. Most people don't have good at-home gyms. You'll probably want a safe space to practice tumbling. So a lot of fitness competitors will go to like the open gym at various gymnastics centers or ninja gyms. So, just keep in mind the drop-in fees you might have to pay for there. Then there's a body work cost that you might want to do. So this sport, especially as fitness competitors, is pretty rough. We are doing lots of high impact types of activities on very hard floors. So you might want to, have a chiropractor ready. You might want to have some massage work, body work in general, cryotherapy, whatever it is. And then there's also like supplementation, like protein powder, vitamins, minerals, or supplements, if that's something you choose to do. Some girls might do teeth whitening to have very pearly looking teeth on stage. And then finally, you might want to invest in some very good protective gear or support gear, meaning wrist guards, knee pads, elbow pads, etc. Things to just, protect your joints. Another thing you can try to take the cost off of you directly is to look into your employee benefits. Some companies have really, really good sort of health and wellness benefits. So for example, my company has a wellness benefit that I will use to pay for my NPC card and my competition registration. I've used it on my gym memberships and things like that. So definitely look into how your company might be able to help you out. And of course, there's always sponsorships. And I don't necessarily mean you have to go and try to get sponsored. If you do, that's great. So always keep an eye out for competitors who are sponsored. You can use their discount codes. Usually it's around 10 to 15% off. It could be supplements. It could be bikini suits. Definitely use their codes if you can. So I hope you found that helpful and informational and hopefully not too scary. If you have any questions about just those items that I talked about, leave a comment below. And if you are a current or past fitness competitor, I'd love to know where you were able to save money, and maybe if you're comfortable talking about how much you paid for some competition prep. Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.